All right, let's find out if you and your classmates have what it takes to stop a full-blown disease crisis. Imagine you're all suddenly put in charge of managing an intense, fast-spreading virus. Every single decision you make in this explainer could literally mean life or death for millions of birds.
Welcome to the explainer for the Virulent Newcastle Disease Outbreak Simulator. Look, this isn't your basic roll the dice and move board game. We're talking about a complex, deeply interactive co-op survival experience. You aren't just fighting a virus, you're managing social dynamics, limited resources, and each other to keep these flocks alive.
Here's the game plan for today. We'll cover 1. Welcome to the Outbreak, 2. Meet your game rolls, 3. Core counters and dice, 4. Playing a full round, and 5. How to win or lose. Section 1. Welcome to the Outbreak, high stakes in Southern California.
So you're placed right in the middle of Southern California, where massive commercial farms are sitting practically right next door to suburban backyards. And unlike a game where you just hack and slash a villain, stopping this disease relies heavily on social interaction. You're not just fighting a virus, you're actually managing your classmates' competing interests, maybe some egos, and trying to communicate effectively. It's going to take massive cooperation to pull this off.
Section 2. Meet your game rolls. Who will you be?
You absolutely cannot fight a virus without knowing your character, so let's break down the 4 asymmetrical player classes. Basically, asymmetrical just means you and your friends will be playing by completely different sets of rules. Every single class has totally different starting assets, motivations, and win conditions. For example, the regulatory agencies, which act as the state veterinarian, start with personnel instead of birds, giving them the power to impose quarantines. Meanwhile, farmers start off huge with 20 flocks. And here's where the drama starts. A backyard owner just wants to grow their flock, while a game fell owner is desperate to travel to shows. Balancing those totally selfish goals against the public good, yeah, that's your real challenge. The action economy here is absolutely crucial to understand. Regulatory agencies play fundamentally differently than the everyday citizens. While the farmers, backyard, and game fowl owners only get 2 actions total per round using their flocks, the regulatory agency is over there spending its 10 personnel almost like currency. They actually get to act twice in the round order, which lets them react to whatever chaos the citizens just caused. Moving on to Section 3, Core Counters and Dice, the tools of the trade. Okay, to stop this outbreak, you really need to know how we measure success and handle the game's math. Throughout the game, you'll be tracking 2 massive metrics. Think of the player behavior counter as your teamwork meter. High numbers here reflect great cooperation and, well, that's good for everybody. On the flip side, the virulence counter is basically the virus's health bar. So just remember this golden rule. You want a very high player behavior counter and a very low virulence counter to keep the disease in check. Now for the actual tools. To determine your outcomes, you're going to be rolling a standard 20-sided die, the classic D20. But beware, because if you fail your checks during a viral spread, you will be punished. You'll have to roll 6-sided dice, the D6, to calculate the devastating damage that your flocks take. If you play games like Dungeons & Dragons, you already know the absolute best way to manipulate the odds, and that is advantage. Taking really smart actions like practice biosecurity or using the Dutch entry protocol gives you a mathematical advantage. That means you roll 2 D20s and keep the higher number. Seriously, whatever you do, do not ignore your defensive buffs.
Section 4. Playing a full round. The 6-round sequence. The game spans exactly 6 rounds, and each one follows a strict, unforgiving order. First up, the regulatory agencies act. Then the citizens get their turns. Gamefall, backyard, and finally the farmers. After that, the regulatory agencies get to react with their second turn. But turn 6, that is where the nightmare really begins. The virus itself, labeled vND, acts like a totally hostile non-player character at the very end of the round. It actually rolls against your player behavior counter to spread. It literally has a mind of its own.
This leads us to the infectivity roll, without a doubt, the most brutal part of the game. Backyard and gamefall owners have to roll a D20 just to beat the virulence counter, but farmers, they have it way worse. They have to beat the virulence counter plus all the infected flocks in the entire community. If you fail, you roll a D6 for every single unvaccinated flock. Every one you roll means an infection. And here's the kicker. Infected flocks die in exactly 1 round, which pushes the virus health bar even higher. The takeaway here? Vaccinate early or watch your birds drop. Now, what if the state vet places a quarantine? Well, to move birds, like, say, sneaking out to a game fowl show, you actually have to roll a d20 greater than or equal to twice the number of unassigned agency personnel. This creates some amazing roleplay tension at the table. If the state vet purposefully leaves personnel unassigned to act as guards, it mathematically traps the citizens from moving their birds. It's super clever.
And finally, Section 5, how to win or lose the ultimate stakes.
So we've talked about the mechanics, but how do you actually survive this thing? You need to keep your eyes glued to the virulence counter. If that number hits 20 and stays there for a full round, the disease becomes endemic. At that point, your personal goals do not matter anymore. It is an instant, catastrophic game over for every single player in the room.
But if you can all swallow your pride, respect the quarantines, and coordinate your vaccinations so well that the virulence counter hits 0 for a full round, you literally cure the region. Everyone instantly wins the game together.
So before you sit down at the table, take a good look around at your classmates. Are you actually going to communicate and balance your own selfish goals to save Southern California? Or are petty disagreements and a few bad dice rolls going to let the virus win? The outbreak is starting, so what's your first move?